So now begins a stretch of 143 long days without Milwaukee Brewers baseball. And to paraphrase poet T.S. Eliot, this is the way the season ends. Not with a bang, but a whimper. Of course, the chant in the Bucks fandom has been for years, Bucks in 6. But the reality is, though, if they don't win tonight, it'll be the Bucks are out in 6. The first place Milwaukee Brewers are off today, but they are about to gear up for a very special reunion. If you've been having a good time watching the Packers lately, imagine being a Packer right now. This is Jair Alexander speaking to reporters today, and boy, that image oozes with confidence. But despite this outfit, he did not give a firm indication that he'll play Monday against the Giants. I'm sure many of you who watched the Badgers game last night were pretty confident at this point in the second half, though. Big problem, it all went downhill from there. Well, with rain in the area taking out just about everything from baseball to softball to tennis, that left soccer as one of the few prep sports in action tonight. We'll start here with Spash taking on West at East. No, it's not confusing. Second half, Lara Hoff trying to guide it through the rain, but Grace Callio spots it and stops it. A couple minutes later, it's Reagan Quirt on her left foot and is able to squirt it past the keeper. That made it 3-1 Warriors. They'd go on to win this one 3-2 and take over second place in the Valley. Up the road, it's Wausau East taking on Merrill, each looking for their first conference win. First half, Lumberjacks get a shot on goal from Eliana Schmidt, and Abo says no in goal. East would keep up the pressure early and often off a free kick. It's the freshman Schmidt going top bins. That gave the Lumberjacks the early lead. The Jays can't answer. East wins it 1-0. When it comes to allegories of David and Goliath, we've got a classic example for you. The Marshfield boys beat Wausau East by 26 points back in December. Should be another easy one, right? Well, say it with me. That's why they play the games. Hope you're strapped in because we've got a wild one. Tigers hold a slight lead before the half, but it's the masked man, Jesse Nabgezik, with the steal and the deal, throwing down a tomahawk before the buzzer to make it a 2-point game. Can Marshfield match the intensity in the second half? Yes, they can. Chris Pohl from the low block. That's 2 of his 28. Tigers would lead by 6 at one point, and East would come back. Jaden Garrett on the catch and shoot 3 would give them the lead. Jacks still lead by 1 later, and it's Brooks Hinson. Ooh, Colin Butter, that's a good-looking finger roll. Later, it's East down 2. Nabgezik fighting for the lead, but got fouled. He'd make both free throws, and the Tigers would hold for 1. This is it. Hinson on the handoff, slips down, rises up, and hits. Tigers lead with only 2 seconds left. East would get one more chance, but this desperation heave will not go. Off the floor, on the board for Marshfield. They win this one in an instant classic. Game time is just around the corner, and for both of these teams, it's either an opportunity to add to an illustrious history or create some new history to share in the future.
Tell me what you saw out there, Isaac.
Well, Austin, what we saw tonight was, in theory, again, as you mentioned, 2 teams ranked in the top 5 in their divisions. You think it's maybe an unstoppable force meets immovable object type of situation. But when it actually played out between the lines, it just wasn't the case. Hearing their post-game breakdown, every Edgar coach was saying the same thing. We are not done yet. They have much bigger fish to fry ahead of them than just winning the Marywood Conference, although they can clinch it outright with another win next week against the Marathon Red Raiders. For a game as high stakes as the state tournament, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And on this day, Tomahawk just could not finish how they wanted. But that is not keeping them down.
I thought that we played with them. We just ran out of a little bit of depth at the end.
To start out, the 4th-seeded Hatchets came right at the defending champs from New Richmond. Jonah Dickens put them on the board just under 3 minutes in with a blast from the circle. But before they could get settled into that lead, the Tigers would make it 3-1 over the next 7 minutes. But not long after, Tomahawk would equalize with Logan Seymour and Jonah Dickens in quick succession with a gritty to boot. If there's one thing the Hatchets were, it's resilient.
We kind of wanted to prove people wrong because we may not be big or have like a big name, but we got the kids that want to put in the work and give us a good outcome.
All that scoring came from period 1, and the champs would show why the rest of the way, adding 3 goals in just over a minute to extend to a 6-3 lead. Caleb Dickens would add a shorthanded goal to give Tomahawk life, but it would be the Tigers who do the taming from there, heading to the state title game with an 8-4 win. Still, the mood is optimistic for the future in Tomahawk.
It was amazing. I love the community and all the support they gave back to us this year, and it's just very exciting.
Senior class, when they were freshmen, went 0-21, and so in a very short amount of time, to make it down and be one of the top 4 teams in Division II is something special for them. This is something that, again, myself and some other people envisioned, and then to be able to, reward the kids with, hey, and you made it. That just solidifies the message that we've been sending.
As Tomahawk season comes to an end, the CW Storm are looking to keep their season alive over on the girls' side. We'll have those highlights and reaction tonight at 10.
Camp Randall Stadium. Last fall, we had an instant classic in the Division V title game. Stratford won it on a game-winning field goal by a foreign exchange student. Isak Dinesen tells us how Lorenz Platner has handled his newfound stardom.
Here's Lawrence Platner, the football player. Here's Lawrence Platner, the human.
I can just say I'm running out of breath right now. I don't really know what to say.
In this interview, after he helped win his team the state title, the German exchange student introduced himself to Wisconsin and the rest of the world.
I have it written out here, just like practice.
That interview has now been seen by the equivalent of a third of Munich's population.
I just went to the interview with all that adrenaline in me, and so I had to talk.
He says it was hard to find words right after winning the state title with that kick on a play he had never converted before. Even now, with time to let it settle, it's still hard to find words.
I think my family in Germany does not even know what's going on here. I don't think they understand it.
He says he talks with his family and friends regularly, but the cultural differences of American sports are tough to fill them in on. Now, despite playing soccer for 5 years over in Germany, Lawrence told me that it didn't bother him that his new school here in America wasn't offering boys soccer this fall, instead wanting to try new things, which led him to American football. How much had you known about American football before you came here?
Nothing. I did not even know a single rule. The only thing I knew is, some guys running against each other.
Luckily, he could kick pretty well, and what gave him the resolve to deliver when the moment called for it, it's still on his arm.
Yeah, it's hard to get off.
Enough washing will do the trick there, but nothing will change that he'll be synonymous with one of the greatest Wisconsin sports moments of all time.
It will be a part of me for the rest of my life because it's the best thing I've ever experienced. That's for sure.
In the meantime, he plans on competing in wrestling and baseball before going back home. But he's cemented his legacy in his temporary home.
The only thing I know now is I'll come back. I'm pretty sure about that. From friends here, my host family is amazing.
Oftentimes, when we tell you an area athlete's story, a few of them truly hit the big time. But that's what Lakeland's Sailor Timmerman is shooting for. In just her junior campaign, she's already signed to move on and compete at the Power 5 level. News 9 Sports' Isak Dinesen joins us with her story. From Lakes Country to SEC Country, that's the plan for Sailor Timmerman.
It was on my birthday, actually, August 29th. My coach called me. She's like, I think Arkansas might be interested.
After a dominant sophomore season leading the T-Birds, Timmerman spent last summer with Sparks Premier, a traveling softball team based in Illinois. It was her performance in national tournaments that catapulted her stock.
It was definitely a really cool moment for a small-town kid from Minocqua to make it big on a big stage.
Resulting in a verbal commitment to the University of Arkansas in October. Having also been named to the UAT national team, it's come with pressure to back up that prestige.
I definitely can tell when we go face other teams, they're definitely like hunting me and they know what they're gonna get. So it definitely puts more of a target on my back and adds a little bit of pressure, but I like the pressure.
And you could say she's relished in that pressure this season. And as the saying goes, pressure makes diamonds. Recently shining in a 7-inning no-hitter against Tomahawk, recording 17 strikeouts.
I like to go in with the mindset that I can beat any batter that I face, and I usually do that by trying to get ahead on every batter.
She's also been a hitter to fear at the plate, all while pitching regularly, establishing herself as one of the area's best two-way players.
I think as a pitcher, when you say you want to pitch, like, that's your responsibility. So I definitely like having the role in the circle and getting the ball every single game. I definitely think it's one way that I can contribute most to my team.
As Lakeland navigates the waters of a stacked Great Northern Conference, they'll be looking to Timmerman, their leader on and off the field.
They definitely like to follow my role, and they look up to me a lot, and I think that's pretty awesome.
In Minocqua, Isak Dinesen, News 9 Sports.